This is the life cycle of a frog. This is a story about the life cycle of a frog. Frog starts life off as tiny eggs, smaller than your thumb. After 21 days, they become tadpoles. After 5 weeks, they begin to grow legs. Soon they mature into froglets. 11 weeks after the eggs were spawned, the tiny frogs are finally adults. Let's look closer at the frog cycle. This is a cluster of frog eggs. The egg begins as a single cell. Several thousands are sometimes laid at once. It becomes surrounded by a jelly-like covering which protects the egg. The female may or may not stay with the eggs to take care of the young after she has laid them. The egg slowly develops, but only a few develop into adults. Ducks, fish, insects, and other water creatures sometimes eat the eggs. After it's 21 days old, the embryo leaves its jelly shell and attaches itself to a weed in the water. This quickly becomes a tadpole, or a baby frog. The tadpole has a long tail and lives in the water. It's extremely vulnerable and must rely on its camouflage to protect itself. The tadpoles also face danger of being eaten by other water animals. After 5 weeks, the tadpole begins to change. It starts to grow hind legs, which is soon followed by forelegs. Lungs begin to develop, preparing the frogs for its life on land. Now and then, they wiggle to the surface to breathe in air. The tail becomes larger and makes it now possible for the tadpole to swim around and catch food. They eat plants and decaying animal matter. Some tadpoles even eat frogs' eggs and other tadpoles. Over time, the tadpole becomes even more frog-like. They've shed their skin and lips. Its mouth widens and it loses its horny jaws. The tail becomes much smaller and the legs grow. The lungs are almost fully functioning at this point. This little guy is also called a froglet. "11 weeks after the egg was laid, a fully developed frog with lungs, legs, and no tail emerges from the water. This frog will live mostly on land, with occasional swims. The tiny frogs begin to eat insects and worms. Eventually, it will find a mate. The way this is done varies depending on the species. The female lays the eggs, the male fertilizes them, and the whole process begins again.